And Nebraska Congressman Jeff Fortenberry is a Catholic and knows firsthand how the world of politics works. Congressman Fortenberry goes on the record from Lincoln, Nebraska. Good evening, sir.
Good evening, Greta. Pleasure to be with you. Thank you.
Nice to have you. Congressman, why do you think that the Pope got into this? Because he got in with a lot of the in fact, all the GOP want to seal the border, although Donald Trump has been very vocal about building that wall. And, of course, I don't know if you've seen what the chatter that's going on Twitter and every place else is. They're talking about the Pope as a big wall around the Vatican. So this seems like a no-win.
Well, it is a highly unusual situation, the Pope having had Mass along the U.S.-Mexican border just a stone's throw from America, and then later wading into a policy and theological discussion that has immigration and presidential politics implications. Invites this type of scrutiny. With that said, I want to reset the conversation a little bit because the Pope just spent a number of days in Mexico directly challenging the violence and the drug culture there, I think placing himself at great personal risk in doing so, waiting among the poorest of the poor and asking them to reject the lure of the drug cartels. That's one thing. Secondly, he's a pastor. He's looking at people who are in desperate conditions. With that said, you're exactly right. The Vatican has a wall around it. Christians throughout the millenniums have built walls in order to protect themselves from outside marauders. The nation has a right to defend itself. This is one of the reasons that I have, along with many other persons in the Congress who hold the Catholic faith and other people of goodwill, have expressed the need for more robust border security. A hallmark of the American experience is that we've had a just and orderly immigration system in the past. However, when there is chaos and disorder at the border, it undermines the ability of our country to be charitable. So I think that's all of the levels of controversy here. But I don't think that humanitarian concerns for people and national security, along with border security, are mutually exclusive propositions.
Well, it is certainly indeed true that that Pope Francis, when he was a cardinal down in Argentina, devoted his life to taking care of the very downtrodden. He's a Jesuit, which has a long history of helping people. I suspect, though, that in getting into this controversy and singling out one GOP candidate who probably is the most, was obviously the most vocal and the most obvious, but denying I guess he just this was a mess he shouldn't have gotten into, I think. Maybe. What do you think?
Well, it is complicated and complex and obviously now controversial. I don't know if the Vatican will adjust the statement. I think one thing that could be built upon is the Pope did add, let's be bridge builders, not just wall builders. I think that's a reasonable comment. But again, the Pope's comment, from my perspective, shouldn't be taken that a nation does not have a right to defend itself. It most certainly does. And when you have chaos and disorder at a border, having more border security initiatives, including physical walls, are a reasonable pursuit. This will give us the chance to rebuild a just and orderly immigration system along the lines that's been the American tradition. So I don't want to, though, miss the opportunity to say that what the Pope did in Mexico, though, is completely consistent with national security concerns of America. The more that the Mexican people can throw off and reject violence, can take on the drug cartels, reorder their own society, actually has implications for proper relationships between our two countries.
And I suspect that politicians on both sides of the aisle here in this nation would love to see Mexico get its drug cartels to decimate those and destroy them. Congressman, thank you, sir.
Pleasure being with you. Thanks so much.